It's playoff time across the country, and we would like to welcome you here in studio for another episode of This Week in CAA Football. I'm Bobby Broyles, joined as always by my partner in crime, Tim McDonald. Tim, let me be the first one to wish you a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Bobby. We certainly, have a lot to be thankful for. I would like to see a couple more teams, but CAA football was very thankful this week after the playoff selection show.
Absolutely, and as we take a look back at last week, Tim, so many great games with so much on the line. A couple of teams came away with victories to pad their playoff resumes, including both New Hampshire and Towson. We also saw teams like Villanova and Richmond play spoiler and end their seasons on a high note with rivalry wins over Delaware and William & Mary, respectively. And as we review the week that was, let's begin with the two teams that really turned it up late in the season behind their standout quarterbacks, the Wildcats and the Spiders. Both QBs also return next year for them.
Yeah, it could be a little preview of what's to come in 2014 for CAA football. Look at that Villanova win over Delaware. Battle of Blue, Bobby, it's 34-12 entering the fourth. You're thinking, okay, Villanova, kind of shut down. Delaware, is going to hold on. All of a sudden, here comes the Wildcats roaring back. John Robertson finishes over 400 yards of offense, 252 passing, 3 touchdowns, 165 yards rushing. Most important key, Villanova scored 23 points in the final 8 minutes, Bobby. Are you kidding me? Yeah. 34-12, and they come back and win. Who kicks the field goal? Senior Mark Hamilton, a reliable kicker, gets it done. Robertson, in that final 8 minutes, 11 for 13, 146 yards, and 3 scores.
Clutch.
Absolutely clutch, and it's heartbreaking if you're a Delaware fan. You look at the Richmond loss, that was awful for them to come back and lose that way. The last 3 games of the season, they go 0-3, Bobby. You look at, deja vu for the Towson game. I don't know if it was a little playoff or it was a little payback for that. It was very similar in Erie. And Delaware, ultimately those 5 losses, Bobby, we know that's the threshold for the playoffs. Yep. That's what hurt them. If they had won that game, could they have made the playoffs? Certainly. Had to get it done, though, and they didn't. Villanova, kudos to them for getting it done.
What about the Richmond Spiders?
I don't even know. Strauss, finishes the season. We announced it today. He's third-team all-quarterback. If he played like that all season, Bobby, there's no question he's first team. The last half of the season, Strauss was just a completely different man. Offensively, Richmond, so dangerous through the air, and you could make an argument that they were the most, air attack-wise, they were the most dangerous teams to face in the nation, let alone in CAA football. William & Mary, that was the first time where we saw that defense struggle from start to finish. That's really the first time all season, Bobby. We saw them get in holes before, but they would always be able to dig themselves out. And the Tribe could never really get anything going offensively. Brent Caprio, struggled in that game. And William & Mary, it's a shame they had to end the season with 2 losses because that also, 5 losses, hurt their playoff chances. Look at William & Mary offensively. All season long, you could argue they never found rhythm offensively. They have Trey McBride, Abdul Sabbar, who was a nice surprise this year, third team all running back. Still, they finished the season ranked 10th in CAA football in total offense. That says a lot. When you have a great defense like that, Bobby, and you have an offense like that, you're not going to be able to find balance.
Well, we're looking forward to seeing Michael Strauss return for his senior year in 2014. And
I should mention that. You're right, because him, Seth Fisher, the running back for them, he was the capital of the MVP Cup. 130-plus yards. He had 2 touchdowns, Bobby. The question for Richmond, end the season strong, 6-6. Heading into next year, can they keep it going? Strauss is back. That's scary. Robertson's back. That's even more scary to think about.
And also for next year for the Tribe, we'll look forward to see if they can complement that defense with more of a balance, like you said, offense next season. As compared to tough season-ending losses for the Tribe and the Blue Hens, Tim, let's look at the 2 squads that helped their causes on Saturday as Towson topped JMU and New Hampshire retained the Bryce Cowell Musket with a big win over Maine. Let's begin with the Tigers as Terrence West continued to make waves with 3 scores and yet another 100-yard game.
Look at that Towson game for for Towson. A huge win, not only because did it give Towson its 10th win, Bobby. That win it's the first time since 1992 that Towson's had 10 wins. It's the first time since 1992 that they've beat James Madison, okay? Yeah. That's an 8-game losing streak that they had entering that game. 10 wins also allowed them to get a bye in the playoffs. They know for a fact now, Bobby, that they're going to sit at home, watch things play out, and know that they're in the playoffs. And Rob Ambrose, credit to him and his staff, because this team this year was on a mission. Leave no doubt was their mantra all year long, Bobby, and they certainly played that out. Talk about Peter Athens. Look on Peter Athens' bio entering the year. No one really knew about him. He's the quarterback for Towson. It still says in his bio, Bobby, senior quarterback with a lot of experience will compete for the starting job. I think he's done just that. He threw for 1 touchdown and 1 interception. Again, he's never going to throw for like 300 yards or 5, but Bobby, he's going to get the job done. And Rob Ambrose keeps talking about He's a manageable guy. The fifth-year senior, start of his career, Bobby, he was playing wide receiver for Towson when Towson was not what they are now, okay?
Also played a little lacrosse.
I think he did too. And just look at the depth of this team and the growth of this team, and that's Towson. Against JMU, Bobby, they get some big stops defensively. Jordan Love, the cornerback, they had some big stops and some big turnovers. And Towson gets it done. You know, they earn a bye, Bobby, and I think if you're Towson, you're excited, okay? Because you finished the season strong, you have a bye, now you have a chance. A couple of those guys, remember, 2 years ago they made the playoffs and they were out in the first round. A couple of those guys were on that team, Bobby.
Yep.
They're ready, and they're ready to prove that they're back.
Well, let's take a look now at New Hampshire as they once again retain the Bryce Cowell musket.
And the Wildcats, everyone knew they needed to get it done. You know, people were saying, we talked about it, if they got the win, Bobby, certainly that would help the resume. Maine was a top 5 team. What do, Bobby? 24-3, an absolute stellar performance on defense. That's what got it done. It wasn't New Hampshire's offense. It was New Hampshire's defense. They were huge and physical against the run. Maine didn't rush for over 100 yards. And they pressured Wasilewski all game long, the quarterback for Maine. He's the first-team quarterback on the CAA football, okay, all conference. They had 5 sacks. Wasilewski also threw a pick. Casey DeAndre, a couple of other players for them, Akeel Anderson, all the guys, they were running around the ball. And New Hampshire, you win and you're in, and that's what happens. They hear their name. They're going to host Lafayette. First playoff home game for them, Bobby. They've been to the playoffs 10 years straight. This is only the second time they're going to be at home in the first round. It's a huge game. They're going to play Lafayette, the champions of the Patriot League. If you're Maine, though, the team that New Hampshire just beat, okay, you end the season on a poor note. Of course, you're disappointed. You just lost to your rival. You just lost the musket. Worst case scenario, though, Bobby, you knew you were in the playoffs. You come home Sunday, you regroup, and you know you get to watch Lafayette, New Hampshire in front of you while you're sitting at home, and you get to play in Maine. Bobby, Maine's never played a football playoff home game, and they're going to get a chance to do it. Yes, it's a sour taste, but they get a chance to respond.
Still a lot to celebrate on their regular season so far for the Black Bears. New Hampshire receives the at-large berth to bring the league's total to 3 teams taking trips to the postseason. 1 team will be in action Saturday, Tim, so get those Thanksgiving leftovers ready. Settle in onto the couch, you know, full belly and all. Pull up ESPN3 as the Wildcats take on Lafayette at Cowell Stadium at noon. The winner, of course, takes on Maine.
It's an interesting matchup, Bobby. Both of these teams, you know, on paper, they've had some familiar foes. They both played Lehigh. UNH lost to Lehigh earlier in the season. Lafayette, what do? They beat Lehigh last week 50-28. Win the Patriot League title at 4-1. Their record overall, Bobby, is a little bit deceiving. They're 5-6. I still think that's going to be a key. They've had some familiar foes. New Hampshire, defensively, you know, since that Towson game, they were 1-3 at the end of September, okay? They lost to Towson, gave up 44 points. Since that game, only 1 time did they allow 20 points, okay? That was to Villanova. They won that game 29-28. That's going to be a key. I think also a key is New Hampshire offensively for QB, okay? We've seen Sean Goldrich and we've seen Andy Bayless. Both back and forth, we've seen it. It's like a light switch, probably. One guy gets hurt, the next guy comes in. That's good, okay? It's great to have backup, but at the same time, I think that's a little bit of a concern. Do you have a true leader under center? Offensively, you know, can they have the rhythm? We've seen they can score points. We've seen they can run the ball. That's going to be the key. Who's going to be the guy under center? I don't think you can keep playing quarterbacks like that. Lafayette's quarterback, Drew Reed, he's a guy who comes in as a freshman. The last 4 games, like I mentioned, 4-1. He's been under the helm, Bobby, and he's been throwing the ball around. So the defensive secondary for New Hampshire is going to be tested. And I think the last question, New Hampshire, a rematch with Maine looms down the road. Now, that's like facing your brother after a heavyweight fight, Bobby, okay? You get into the playoffs and you're happy, and then you realize if we win this game, we have to go to Maine, the team that we just beat at home. I don't think they're going to look ahead. I think they're going to be prepared. They're playing in the dungeon. That certainly helps where they haven't lost. It's tough to not look ahead and see Maine praying and waiting in the next round.
Absolutely. Remember, you can follow this weekend's game on our game day page on CAAfootball.com, which features links to live stats and audio and video streaming for Saturday's UNH Lafayette matinee.
And of course, you can follow us on social media as well, Bobby. We'll be both spending a lot of time over the weekend on Twitter, but you can catch up with CAA Football at CAA Football and use the official hashtag CAFB. You can also get your league fix on Facebook and facebook.com/CAA Football. And of course on Instagram and Vine by searching CAA Football. Definitely feel free to hit us up if you have a comment or question as we now head into the postseason.
CAA Football was right down the road at Richmond for the Capital Cup matchup between the Spiders and the Tribe last week. If you haven't watched our Going Deep feature on Richmond's Ben Edwards, check it out on the blog at cafootball.wordpress.com or on ca.tv, along with interviews, highlights, a campus tour, and even some Spider tailgating.
And Bobby, CAA Football announced its all-conference honorees this week. And for a complete list of the award winners and all 3 of our conference teams, visit cafootball.com. SportsGrid.com, where we'll also bring you full-length all-conference videos soon.
Tim, I know the season has gone by quickly, but the playoffs are now here. And as we both know, anything can happen.
Throw everything out the door. That's why I love this conference, Bobby, and that's why I love the FCS. Anything can happen on any given Saturday. You know you're playing with the season on the line. Get your popcorn ready, and don't eat too much turkey this weekend, all right? I'll be watching you.
I'll try not to. I don't want to fall asleep in any of the action on Saturday. So we'll see you right here next week as we get you set for the second round of FCS playoffs right here in our CA.TV studio. Have a safe, happy, and football-filled Thanksgiving, everyone.